As mentioned earlier, President Joe Biden took the opportunity today to speak and commemorate the 12th anniversary of DACA, the Deferred Action for Childhood Arrivals program, which was enacted by former President Barack Obama in 2012. DACA defers the deportation of migrants who were brought to the U.S. illegally as children. And while the order does not give undocumented immigrants lawful status, the White House says it does allow, in part, quote, young people to live and work in the only country that they have called home. And here to tell us more about that is Stephen Camarota, Director of Research for the Center for Immigration Studies. Stephen, good to be with you today. Want to talk about DACA, but first I want to discuss this new executive action that the Biden administration announced today, which prevents undocumented spouses of U.S. citizens from being deported. Talk to us about the significance of this new policy.
Well, in general, they weren't getting deported anyway if they hadn't committed a crime. So that's not the big change. The big change is that they are getting a status called parole. And that will, after they go through some process, in effect be able to adjust and get green cards. So it is, I think, fair to call it an amnesty for maybe 600,000 people who are illegal immigrants themselves, but they're married to a U.S. citizen. And as, of course, your listeners may know, if you're married to a U.S. citizen and you're a foreign national, normally you would be able to get a green card. But because these individuals have lived in the United States illegally for an extended period, that creates a problem. And so there are bars for people who've been here illegally to get a green card. And so what this does, in effect, is work around that and effectively give them green cards. They could have gotten green cards if they receive a waiver first, go home to their, where they're from, or at least leave the country and undergo processing, and then would return with a visa and a green card. But this is, in effect, makes it a whole lot easier, a whole lot more attractive for them. So remember, they're not being deported right now. It's just a way of making them, whether they should be is a different question, but it's just a way of making them citizens, giving them a kind of amnesty.
Stephen, do you expect it to face legal challenges like DACA did?
Yes, so there's a whole series of questions. Is the president, for one thing, abusing his parole authority? Is he violating both the spirit and the letter of the law by allowing this kind of way of going around the normal? Congress has set up bans on people who are here illegally adjusting status, though everything with immigration law has an exception, so you have to be careful. But that was Congress's intent, and it would seem that this is an example of the president short-circuiting that. The other thing that I think people will be able to show harm if they're suing is that the Immigration Service is already backlogged. It can't handle all the green card and all the work authorizations and temporary visas, everything that it's being asked to do. And now you're asking it to process 500,000 to 600,000 paroles. Then they need a waiver so that then they can begin this idea of adjusting status. That too creates a huge workload. So what it means is people, in effect, who are doing it the right way, who are not illegal immigrants, they're going to have to wait a whole lot longer because there's no way the bureaucracy can handle all this because it's already overwhelmed. And this is a very substantial increase in work. And I think that'll be one of the big objections. The two big objections are you're rewarding illegal behavior at a time when we don't want to be encouraging more illegal immigration. And second, it's coming at the expense of people here legally who are going to be pushed to the back of the line, or at least the whole system will really continually grind to a halt, or nearly so.
Yeah, and a lot of people questioning the timing of all this as well. I want to get to DACA really quickly before we run out of time. Give us an idea of who these DACA recipients are, the so-called dreamers, and how many people have benefited from this program since it began in 2012. And there are some issues here as well.
Right. So DACA was for people who came before the age of 16 to the United States. So all of the individuals are basically adults now. A few of them may have been younger, but it didn't work that way. It was mainly it's all adult people, sometimes in their 20s and 30s, who've lived here for quite some time. We know some other things, that the number of people who have this status has steadily declined, partly because people marry an American or find some other way to get a green card. Some people go home, and there's just natural mortality in a population such as this, as there would be in any. So the number of people with DACA, I think the last numbers I saw was around 600,000. Don't quote me on that. So, and it was larger, several 100,000 larger originally. But so DACA individuals are, I think that's usually thought to be around 70% from Mexico. So it's very heavily weighted towards Latin America, but they're from all over the world, very heavily weighted towards California. They have modest levels of education. The vast majority, even though they're adults, do not have college degrees. They're not children, as I said. They're all adults. And they have, as I say, modest levels of education. Some are married to American citizens. Most aren't. So it's not a diverse population ethnically. It's overwhelmingly Latin America, overwhelmingly Mexican, but not exclusively by any means. Relatively modestly educated, and it's concentrated in the states you would expect: California and Texas.
All right, Stephen, thank you so much for your insights. Always appreciate it. Great to be with you.
Thanks for having me.